Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues episode 45. A 13-year-old is running for the governorship of Vermont, and I'll probably vote for him. His name is Ethan Sonneborn, and he sounds way smarter than Phil Scott, so yeah, Phil Scott's the one that's going to run against him. Might as well. Now, of course, because he's a Democrat, this kid, he would have to run against the other Democrats, but it's a novel idea. That gets you attention. He appears to be intelligent, although, just looking at what he said, I don't agree with everything, but he's pro-marijuana legalization. It's the first step towards defeating the opiate crisis in the state, so, you know, why wouldn't I? Yeah, why the hell not vote for him? Unless the Libertarian Party's fielding a sane and viable candidate, which last time it didn't even have a candidate, so I'm not sure what's going on with that in our state. We had some Liberty Union dude who was to the left of Bernie Sanders. He runs. But we have no one who's just saying, oh yeah, well, we need more limited government. Phil Scott, because he's a Vermont-style Republican, is basically just a business Democrat. Only when push comes to shove, he won't even go for marijuana legalization because of memorialism or something like that. The state of Vermont ultimately is small, rural, and every day pretty much is a slow news day. It's not the sort of position, being the governor of Vermont is not the sort of position that's so intrinsic to the fabric of our republic that having a 13-year-old running the state would actually be a problem. Yeah, we could probably pull it off. Look at some of the other people we've had in politics. Look at Bernie Sanders. Never held any employed position. Career politician being essentially a nutcase. And yet he gets reelected over and over again. As far as representing the wishes of the far left of Vermont, does a really good job. The wishes of more sane Vermonters, not necessarily. But this particular individual we're talking about wouldn't be that out there, actually, in his views. He's like, oh yeah, well, you know, Trump tweets like a kindergartner and stuff. Okay, well, I'll disagree with him on that token. That's just his opinion. But the big issues right now in our state, honestly, basically, it does boil down to marijuana and, hey, we don't have any jobs. And since we're never going to have any jobs because no governor is ever going to have the balls to go up against our legislature, yeah, why not? Why not have a 13-year-old governor? What's the problem with that? I fail to see the problem. A lot of people, it's like with the lowering the voting age stuff. Some people, they get really, really uptight about it. And they say, well, you know, that's just like hyper left-wing stuff. His views seem to be pretty much in line with any Peter Shumlin, only maybe minus any aspect of gun control. Yeah, I can deal with that. Who cares? If he manages to get through the primaries, if he actually becomes a candidate, which, I mean, it's a long shot, yeah, I'd vote for him. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Especially if it's against Phil Scott. If Phil Scott actually runs again, it'd be such a freak show. I've considered the possibility of forming a new party in the state, like the Internet Party or something. I've considered running against Phil Scott, and that's not a joke. The reason why is he's such a piss-poor governor. Like, he's pissed off the Republicans in the state, which is a minority, but he's pissed them off. He's pissed off, certainly the fact that he's a Republican pisses the left off. Who are his allies? I fail to see where his approval that does exist is coming from. I guess there's a lot of stock car fans in the state of Vermont. What exactly has he done to help this state? He's put us in the national news a couple times by being a very vocal critic of federal policy. Okay, maybe standing on principle, you know, his opinion, that's a good thing. But it gives our state ultimately doesn't have a lot of political sway. His job is to manage the state, not to manage anyone's affairs outside of the state. Meanwhile, he's too busy talking about the immigrants that are, you know, along the southern border states, or the Canadian tourists or something like that, and he's too busy racing cars. He hasn't done anything for this. He's like Peter Shumlin. He's like Peter Shumlin if Peter Shumlin had better overall aesthetics as far as how he brands himself. So I'm not a fan of Phil Scott. I thought Listman would have been a better candidate. Sue Minter was crazy. But Phil Scott wasn't a good candidate. It's just he was just sort of the boring do-nothing candidate. Unfortunately, he's also doing nothing on the drug war that continues to wage in this state. And it's making people miserable, and it's screwing with our economy. It's causing the crime rate to rise. That's something that needs to be tackled. Any candidate willing to say, up front, absolutely yes, I will sign whatever marijuana legalization comes to my desk. The first time it comes by, it gets my signature. Any candidate willing to pledge that should be voted for. Any candidate that wants to drag their heels, half-ass it, say, no, the system we've got now kind of works, shouldn't be voted for. In all honesty, that's the #1 problem that we've got. Look, we've survived decades of having basically no good jobs in the state. We've survived decades of that, for better or for worse. That's survivable. The opiate crisis in Vermont's not really survivable. It's getting worse and worse and worse. If some 13-year-old shows up and says, yeah, I'll legalize marijuana, yeah, they get my vote. Unless I happen to be running on my own. I'd run an independent campaign. It's not a joke when I've said that. That's a very serious proposal that I'm actively considering, because I figure I've got a huge platform. I wouldn't need TV ads. Nobody watches TV anyway. What would the point be? I think I could probably hold my own in the debate, since a lot of these others don't appear to ever know what they're talking about. Phil Scott included. What are his political chops? Oh, business this, business tax rates. You're not going to do anything, Phil. That's the problem. Better a 13-year-old than Phil Scott. Yeah, I don't care if it's a liberal Democrat. No partisan. Probably be way better. So yeah, he's running for the... he's already said he's running. I don't know if he's filed all the paperwork or anything yet. But he looks like a dapper. He looks a little bit like a younger version of Review Bra, to tell the truth. Yeah, okay. You want to run for governor? Probably do a better job than the last couple freaks and weirdos that we've had in the office. Why the hell not? It's the state of Vermont. It's rural. It's small. You know, we can deal with that sort of thing. It's not like you're running for the presidency or the U.S. Senate or something. And there's no age requirement, so hey, who cares? That's about all. Peace out.